You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Welcome to episode 67 of the Soulforge podcast with Shawn and Tracy.
Welcome to the Soulforge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soulforge.
Shawn and Tracy here, bringing you episode 67 of the Soulforge podcast. How are you today, Tracy?
Just dandy.
Really?
Sure.
What does dandy consist of?
Dandy's something I say when I'm not really great, but I'm not terrible either, so I just use dandy.
So you're kind of half and half.
Right.
Okay.
More on the good side, I guess.
Hey, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's always nice to be on the good side.
Very true.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good, because today it's raining in Timmins.
It is. It's kind of yucky out.
Yeah.
And the temperature's dropping.
Yes, our summer is now officially over, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Because yesterday was Friday, and it was like 30 degrees Celsius.
It was beautiful.
And all the rest of the week it's supposed to be like 12, 13, 14
Yeah.
degrees. So
Yeah. I think it's over the nice weather, so
fall is on its way for sure. Which means Halloween is coming.
Yeah.
Do you like Halloween?
I don't love it.
No.
No. There's candy, which I just eat it, and then I have to go to the door. And
And there's all these kids.
Right? And the dog barks. I don't know. I would just wish I could put a bowl out.
You could. Help yourself.
Right.
The honor system.
Yeah.
And then somebody would just empty it all in their
Probably, but
pillowcase.
then whatever. I don't care.
Then you're done. Shut off the lights and you're good to go.
I do like seeing my own children dressed up and having fun and going to visit family and stuff, but...
Well, your youngest is 12.
Yes.
Is she still trick-or-treating? Has she done that? Is she too old for that?
She did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens this year. She's in junior high now. So gotta be kind of cool, I think.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, Bishop's 12. And he still goes, but he's 6 foot tall. He's my height.
Right.
He's a big kid.
He is a big kid.
So I don't know if he's going to go this year or not. We haven't really discussed it.
When did you stop trick-or-treating?
Probably when I got to be too tall and felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But actually, I went a few years ago with Bishop, and
Okay.
I dressed up in a black leather trench coat and put on a Darth Vader mask, and I went Halloweening. So I like free candy,
Yeah, why not? Who doesn't love free candy?
except for suckers. I don't like the suckers.
No?
No, lollipops are good, but the suckers are not so great.
So a lollipop, you're meaning like the round,
The round
big
ones,
round ones?
yeah.
What about the soft ones? Is that what you're talking about? Like they almost taste like a rocket, but they're usually do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I do.
No? Okay. Well, I'll have to show you when Halloween comes around.
Yeah.
But anyways, they're softer and they're not like a hard candy.
Okay.
I don't really like those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, are you big into the whole pumpkin spice whatever?
No.
You're not. See, that surprises me about you. I figure you like your coffee.
I do. I love my coffee.
Do you like your coffee crisp?
Very much so.
Ah, see, I make joke. You laugh now.
So, how do you like your coffee? Crisp. You like your coffee crisp. I like my coffee crisp. Oh, I'm supposed to laugh now. You don't know from jokes. You never did.
Remember those old commercials?
Yeah. Sorry.
Did you make a bad word?
I did.
Ah,
I
okay.
am always making bad words.
You are making bad words.
I don't think I've ever sworn on the podcast before, though.
And it was hard for me to even tell that you did, so I don't think anybody's going to pick it up. I'm not going to edit that out, because I don't really care.
Okay.
All right. So, I was at Jump City Comic Books and Collectibles last night, podcasting with Josh.
Oh, nice.
Because we went to the store, which is owned by his wife and his sister-in-law.
This is Kitty from Jump City Comics, and you're listening to the Soul Forge podcast. Forge your soul.
So we actually had the sister-in-law Julie on the podcast.
Nice.
And Sherry, who runs the Atomic Cafe.
Okay.
So all four of them actually work in the 101 Mall,
Right.
and I don't. So we were talking about that. People kept coming in and out of the store, and the doorbell would ring, and oh, look, there's Diego. Say hi, Diego, to the podcast people. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, and we talked about the bear that I had taken a video of in the past week.
Right, yes. Maybe you should tell the listeners what happened.
I should. So it was Monday or Tuesday of this past week, and I'm walking down the hill towards the next house, and 2 houses down, I see this great big thing. I think it's a dog in the middle of the front yard.
Okay.
But it comes from behind the fence, and it's a bear.
A bear.
It's a great big son of a bear.
Right.
And I was like, what the heck do I do? I know, I'll take a picture of it in the video. Because what else do you do when there's a bear in the middle of town for some reason?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I took the video and I posted it on Facebook. In 3 days, it was shared 160 times. So what did I do? What did I do, Tracy?
You complained. Don't you talk about
Yes.
that you don't get that many shares for your podcast.
That's right.
Right.
Yes. I said all these shares for my bear video and nothing for my podcast. And a bunch of people then shared my podcast.
Well, that was kind.
And 3 or 4 of them that actually do share the podcast actually said, hey, I share the podcast.
Good.
I'm like, yes, I know you do. I was just talking about in general.
Right.
So that's what happened. Now I'm primed for bears in the middle of town. Yesterday I'm delivering the mail, listening to podcasts, walking along, not really paying attention, walking between 2 houses, and I see this great big black thing on all 4s ready to pounce at me. I jump out of my skin. I must have actually leaped in the air, and I'm sure I said a bad word. And then I took a second look. You know what it was?
A dog?
A giant inflatable Halloween cat. Yeah. Did I? And then I had to look around to make sure that nobody had seen me.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I was continuing along further, and right at that street where the bear was the previous day, there's this dog that's always behind a fence.
Right.
For the last year and a half, it's been barking at me, trying to bite my face off, just to get at me. Well, yesterday, it wasn't behind the fence,
Oh.
and I always hear it barking, and I just ignore it.
Yeah.
It was in the driveway, and it ran at me so hard and so fast.
Oh, no.
It was down the driveway before I even had a
no.
chance to react, and it just ran right around me and then went the other way. So he didn't actually want to bite me. I guess he just wanted
He's just protecting his home.
to come
He's
say
doing
hi.
his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And you thought he was a big mean dog.
I said another bad word.
No way.
Yeah, but he didn't attack me. I was glad not to
That's
get
good.
bitten. So.
Have you ever been attacked?
I
or
have
bitten?
been. Yes, an English bulldog bit me in the ass. The first winter that I was a mailman. Bit me on the knee and, I tried to get my ass, but I guess whatever I had behind me, my cleats or something was protecting me, but it got my knee.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Was it bad?
It didn't break the skin,
Well, that's good.
so it just bruised a lot.
Oh.
It hurt.
Yeah.
But I had to go up for a tetanus shot and all that stuff. But I got the rest of the day off, I think.
Well,
so
there you go.
That was all right.
Yeah, fun. Dog bites are fun.
Yes. But getting back to Halloween and pumpkin spice everything.
Okay, yeah.
So you do not like that stuff.
I wouldn't say I don't like it, but I don't look forward to it. That's not all I drink in the fall. I'll have something here and there,
Okay.
but that's it. My favorite is pumpkin pie.
Ooh, me too. I love pumpkin pie with whipped cream on it. Yes. I'm not a big pumpkin spice everything, but you always see the memes this time of year.
Yeah.
Oh, all the white girls and their pumpkin spice at Starbucks. Right.
Yeah.
So what I did was the other day I went to Tim Hortons and they had the pumpkin spice ice cap.
Okay.
I gave it a try just for a
And?
treat because it was hot that day and I
Yeah.
wanted something different.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how would you relate it to the pumpkin spice of a pie? Is it similar tasting?
Well, you can tell it's pumpkin.
Yeah.
It's pumpkin-y.
But
But
what makes it pumpkin-y? Because have you ever had pumpkin without all the spices?
probably gross, right?
Yeah, kinda.
So it's the spices. It's,
Yeah.
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 It was pretty tasty. It's
Good.
more expensive than a regular iced cap,
Of course.
but
Of course.
for a once in a while treat,
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
I think I prefer the regular iced caps. That's better. Yeah, I treated myself because why not? Sometimes you have to do that.
For sure, and we got to try new things.
Yeah. Life is all about new things.
Yeah.
Trying new things, experiencing new experiences. That's how about we work for the Department of Redundancy Department? You've got to experience new experiences. Yeah, you do. Yeah. So this is episode 67.
Yeah.
Way back when I said I eventually have to do a Brigitte, the ex-wife episode. You said, how about episode 68?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we'll just do episode 68.
Okay.
The other night, I had a dream about Brigitte.
Oh.
And I hadn't dreamt about her in quite a while.
Okay.
So I was in the parking lot, and she pulled up in a white convertible classic car, driving her boss, who owns all the buildings.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, that's weird. So she said, Shawn, hey, I haven't seen you in forever. And she took me to Starbucks, where she's the manager, and showed me all around. This is the cream dispenser.
Oh.
This is where we keep the straws. It was just a very weird dream.
Uh-huh.
And she was in it.
Yeah.
And nothing about the marriage or a relationship.
No.
It was just like a, hey, old friend, I haven't seen you in a while kind of dream. But I hadn't dreamed about her in forever, so that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Maybe I know episode 68 is coming soon.
Probably. You were probably thinking about it.
Probably. Yeah.
I also saw her the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Tell me you didn't go into Starbucks and buy something.
I did not go into Starbucks.
Good girl.
I was somewhere. I can't remember where. Anyway. And, so she just turned and looked the other way and kept walking. She didn't say hello or...
Imagine that.
Yeah. Anyway. Whatever.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll talk about that on the next episode.
Maybe we should.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what else is going on in life?
Oh, lots of things.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So many things. So many things I could talk about, but it's not time to talk about them yet.
Okay.
That's later.
Okay.
In a future episode.
Future.
To hook the listeners to say, oh,
right.
They're talking about something interesting, and it's a big topic,
right.
And they shouldn't talk about it on episode 67.
Right.
So...
It'll be later.
It'll be later.
Keep listening.
Keep listening to the Soul Forge podcast. And since you're listening to the Soul Forge podcast, you should listen to other podcasts on the ESO network.
Absolutely.
Here's a promo for one of those shows right now.
Hey there, folks. My name is JC Delatorre.
And I'm Rita Delatorre.
And we are Transmissions from Atlantis, an original member of the ESO network. And we are excited to tell you all about our podcast.
Well, it's everything science fiction, fantasy, horror.
And every single episode will have a segment of Doctor Who. Let's give everybody a taste.
I have my 2 minutes.
Yes.
Okay then. So no interrupting.
Go ahead.
Fine.
You're using up your 2 minutes.
Shut up. You're interrupting me. Stop it.
You're now up to 50 seconds. This was worse than Kill the Moon.
It was not worse than
I
Kill
would
the Moon.
take the moon as an egg before I would take a bunch of trees, sprout up overnight, save the earth, and then magically... And where did the trees go? Where did the trees go? Yes, Transmissions from Atlantis.
Class.
Classy, sci-fi, pop culture discussions. Check us out, transmissionsfromatlantis.com.
And I don't know what it is until I edit it in, but I hope you check it out.
I hope so too. Yeah. I'm going to.
Oh, well, you always do.
Yeah.
You are a podcast-aholic.
I actually do quite love podcasts.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
not being jokey.
No, but you sounded kind of jokey.
I do.
So I just wanted to make sure that listeners know that I actually do love podcasts.
I have a very difficult time with my tone sometimes. People don't know if I'm joking or being sarcastic or being serious.
Oh.
And I think that might be my own defense mechanism against seriousness.
Oh.
So I'm not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm.
But,
maybe. It could be, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are these other podcasts that you listen to on a regular basis? Do you have like a favorite?
Oh, I do, and you know it.
Is it the Soul Forge?
Yes.
Is it my other podcast, the Rusted Robot Podcast? No. What? You don't listen to the Rusted Robot Podcast?
Not that often, not unless you tell me there's something particularly interesting.
Okay.
I love you, but I'm not into the same geeky stuff that you are.
You're not?
No.
Not too many people are, actually. And,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that. I don't expect people to listen. That's why I do a geek show and a show about life.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I like to get all the audiences.
All the audience.
And maybe one day I'll actually have listeners, so that would be cool.
Well, you do have listeners. You can't just count the people who listen every week.
No, that's true. That's
Right.
true. I don't have a lot.
You mean more listeners. An abundance of listeners.
Yes, but I
Right.
could always use more.
Yes. Yes.
So let's go back. What is your favorite one?
So my current favorite is called My Favorite Murder.
Oh, yes, you did tell me about that. Mm-hmm. Right, that's pretty popular. I can't speak. The true crime genre is one of the most popular genres of podcasting.
Definitely. If you look at like the top 10, I think it probably takes about 7 or so of them. I'm not sure. I haven't looked in a bit, but yeah. So I came across this podcast listening to another podcast called Totally Lame, and I don't really know how I came across that one. But one of the hosts of My Favorite Murder was on this podcast. And just the title intrigued me.
Okay.
To be honest, I found her voice kind of annoying and stuff, but I'm like, I just want to see what this is about.
Yeah.
Well, I listened to one episode and I was hooked.
Hooked.
So, this week I will be finishing the podcast. So not only am I listening to all the current podcasts, as I'm going back 2 years or 2.5 years or whatever it is, listening to all the old podcasts.
And they're still making new ones?
They're still making new ones. They come out with 2 a week.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Are they long episodes?
Yes. So one episode is a long episode. So there's 2 women that host, and each of them tell about a murder. And then the second episode is where they read listeners' emails.
Oh, okay.
So about their hometown murder, they call it, or it could be many different things. They, ghost stories or kidnappings or vanishings, or one other thing they like is things that are found in a wall, when you're doing demolition or something.
Oh,
Just different weird things. So.
Right, that's always cool. Do some renovations and find like an old Pepsi can from 1932 or something.
Right, or, there's been some really interesting things, secret rooms and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, to listen to that kind of thing because you think that you shouldn't be. But it's, I don't know, it's kind of cool in the same way, to learn about how people kill people.
Yeah.
Sounds bad, I guess.
Well, and I find that that's a very common way that people find podcasts. They listen to a guest host on another podcast, and then they talk about their show. And I've gone down the rabbit hole of all kinds of different shows. Like my favorite podcast is WTF with Marc Maron.
Yes, and I like him too.
He has 2 a week. And he interviews all kinds of different people, and often they'll have podcasts of their own. So I've discovered some that way.
Yeah.
One that I found recently, because of him, I think, was Movie Crush.
Okay.
Where this one guy interviews a bunch of people about their favorite movies and stuff. They talk about it and that kind of thing. And they're always advertising other podcasts on their How Stuff Works network.
Oh, cool.
So then I discovered Behind the Bastards. Have you heard of that one? Did I tell you about it?
No, a coworker was telling me about it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be once a week on Tuesday, but the guy talks a lot, so there's usually 2 episodes, and the second one comes out on Thursday. And it's interesting. Talk about the secret lives of Hitler and how he was into fantasy novels and stuff. So not just about the atrocities, all about their weird, quirky habits and stuff.
That's one I've been meaning to listen to, and I keep forgetting about it. So I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good one. I listen to a lot of Star Trek episode review shows, and I was just thinking the other day, you know what this world needs? Another Star Trek episode review podcast.
Yeah?
No, not really. There's so many. You have no idea. And I'd probably listen to 4 or 5 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you just explain a little bit more? Because I don't really know much about Star Trek.
Okay.
So I don't really know what you mean by that. With Star Trek review, they just talk about Star Trek?
Well, there's some general Star Trek podcasts.
Okay.
This is what's happening, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or they'll just talk about a certain aspect of it. How would warp drive really work? Or whatever. But these episode review shows is they'll take a specific episode.
Okay.
Sometimes they go in order, like the Mission Log podcast. They'll talk about it right from the beginning all the way through. And then other shows just pick an episode at random from any of the series. And either they'll play clips or they won't, but they'll talk about the show and what they liked about it and who the guest stars were.
So it's the specific episodes.
Specific episodes, yeah.
Okay.
And so I've been branching out because you can only listen to so much of that crap. So.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I don't know, but.
Did you know that in addition to Soulforge and Rusted Robot, I'm currently working on a third podcast.
I did know that. Tell us about it.
Well, I'll play the promo for it right here.
Excellent.
Have you heard of the classic original show? Well, this is it.
Hey there, it's Shawn from Timmins, Ontario, Canada.
Greetings, Seamus from Michigan City, Indiana.
Hi, Shawn Vanderloo here. I'm the host of the Rusted Robot podcast and the Soul Forge podcast.
Hey guys, it's Seamus. I host Chewed Gum, Tuesdays with Mary, MMA Pit podcast, crime and movies, and a bunch of other stuff.
It's the classic original show.
This show is a comedy featuring Shawn and Seamus. Canada meets Indiana. Tune in for a good laugh at DramaCityProductions.com, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and soon to be iTunes. Drop those iTunes reviews, guys. We're going to be here all the time. Thank you!
My name is Boris, and I am your Russian lover. I am Russian, but I am in no hurry. So that's the classic original show, starring Shawn and Seamus.
Shawn and Seamus. That's fancy.
Seamus does 8 other podcasts by himself.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
And he said, Shawn, I like your style, and I think we have similar mindsets. How would you like to do another one with me? I'm like, sure, that sounds like a good time. Lots of fun. So it's going to be some kind of comedy podcast.
Okay.
We haven't settled on the format quite yet, but we
Okay.
might do weird accents and like little news clips and who knows what.
Yeah.
He's been getting it out on like Stitcher and all the different
Nice.
places and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
we're trying to get some hype going.
So when can we look forward to this
Well,
dropping?
we haven't recorded our first episode yet, but we're just trying to work out a schedule to do that. So probably within the next month or so. We're hoping.
Yeah.
We just have to. He's from Indiana, Indiana,
Yeah.
and I'm from Canada.
Yes.
Timmins, Ontario, Canada.
Timmins, Ontario.
Yeah.
That's where you currently live.
Yes, actually I'm from the Sioux, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm here in Timmins.
Yeah.
The land that culture forgot.
You just have to make your own culture.
That's what I've been doing with podcasts. Now I just need people to listen.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So, other than that, that's podcasting.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different shows out there, almost a million different ones. And
Can I mention more?
you
can I talk more?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So one thing that I like to do is, do the Canadian thing as much as I can. So I've been listening to more Canadian podcasts and following the true crime. I'm listening to one, and I'm not going to remember the name of it. I'll have to tell you so you can put it in the show notes.
Okay.
But I think it might just be Canadian true crime, but I'll let you know for sure. But I find it interesting because the woman who does the podcast is Australian.
Oh, and
Talking about
Canada.
Canadian murders and true crime. So it took me a couple episodes to get into it because I don't know, it just seems weird. Maybe
The accent was throwing you off?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess anybody could do a podcast about Canada. But so that one, and another one that I like that is Canadian is Someone Knows Something. Have you heard of that one?
I think I've heard that name.
It's a CBC podcast.
Oh.
I've only listened to the first season, and I think they might be on 5 now.
Oh.
But the one I listened to was about a little boy who went missing in the 1970s. So this reporter is going back, talking to people, doing some more investigating and that kind of thing about the disappearance. So that's kind of interesting as well. But yeah.
So a lot of true crime you listen to.
I guess so.
I'm afraid
guess
that
so.
if I open up the rabbit hole of true crime, that's all I'll start listening to because that stuff is fascinating.
It is.
But I want to listen to my other shows. I don't have time in the day to listen to everything, and I'm so far behind on Marc Maron. I'm like 10 or 12 behind.
Yeah, I also listen to Marc Maron, and I don't listen as often as I should because I've been so focused on this My Favorite Murder. But since I'm almost at the end now, I will have more time for other podcasts. So this past week, I've kind of dabbled in some news stuff.
Okay.
But yeah.
What is your podcast listening routine? Like, I listen only when I'm delivering the mail.
I listen only at work.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So when I'm sitting at my desk doing my work, it's not terribly mind-consuming, my work. So I'm able to listen and work at the same time.
Okay.
So,
'Cause
yeah,
I
when
know-
I'm at home, I don't.
Don't tend to.
No.
No. And I know a lot of people do, either when they're doing dishes. Some people listen in the shower. Or,
Oh, really?
or when they're
Okay.
running or
Yeah.
jogging or working out or whatever, so some people just incorporate it into their lives.
Yeah.
I do it at work.
Yeah.
No other time, really.
Yeah, me either. Unless I've started to listen to one and I haven't finished it, or
Yeah, I've done that before.
yeah.
Just to finish off the last 15, 20 minutes.
yeah.
But there's so much stuff on Netflix and stuff and books to read.
Yes.
There's no way to consume all the pop culture that you want.
It's true because my favorite murder podcast, they're always talking about different books and podcasts and movies and stuff about the murders that they're talking about, and I write it all down on my calendar at work. So
to go back into that stuff and maybe get that book and find out more.
Right. So I do that a little bit here and there. I just started watching another Netflix show that they had talked about, and so there's all that, not just the podcast, but all that extra stuff. And now I've got my husband watching all the true crime stuff on Netflix.
Is he addicted?
I think so.
See, because when I think of true crime, I think of Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack from the 80s.
Right.
Like, I watched that a lot
yes.
with the parents and the grandparents and whoever else. And then Rescue 911 with William Shatner. I don't think that was really true crime, but it was like stories of what was actually happening.
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid of getting into the true crime rabbit hole because it seems like it'd be all-consuming, and it's fascinating, and I'm like, oh, tell me more. But I'm like, no, I have other stuff to do.
Right.
So.
And when I'm listening, I often at work when they're talking about murders and stuff like that, I'll Google it when I'm at my desk, so then I'll be able to see the pictures of who they're talking about and get other information afterward about, different things that they've said. And you're right, it is kind of a whole thing.
Yeah, you can just get sucked right down.
Yeah, but I also try and listen to some funny stuff.
Oh, that's
because to try and balance it out a bit. Because with my anxiety and stuff, I need to not always be focused on negative. Although I will say my favorite murder is also hilarious. They're really funny. But yeah, so I listen to a couple, like Marc Maron can sometimes be pretty funny.
And he can be really philosophical at times too.
That's true.
So,
yeah. Yeah. So I try and keep a balance, but
balance is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe our listeners should share with us what their favorite podcast is.
That's a good idea.
Other than the Soul Forge.
Other than Soul Forge. Yes, of course. So you can email the show. Do you know what the email address is for our show?
I don't.
Well, let me tell you. It's soulforgepodcast@gmail.com.
Soulforgepodcast@gmail.com.
And did you know you can tweet us?
Tweet? On Twitter?
On Twitter, yes. On the Twitters.
Nice. Tweet on Twitter.
@SoulForgePod.
Ah, nice.
Yep, and of course, if they haven't liked the page for the Soul Forge on Facebook, they definitely should.
Definitely. They can also put something on there, can't they?
I believe they can.
Yeah.
We do share, you and I, a lot of positivity memes.
Yes.
And philosophical sayings and quotes and whatnot. And the episode links.
Yeah.
For all the shows. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss before we head out of here?
It's pouring outside. I can just hear it now. I don't know.
Yeah, the windows are open.
The microphone will pick it up.
I don't know if the microphone can pick that up, just like you said.
But it is pouring.
It is pouring. So,
love it.
it's a beautiful day if you're a duck. So,
well, have a great week.
And you as well. And to our listeners.
Yes.
And we'll talk to you next week with the Brigitte episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
And so, thanks for stopping by the Forge. We'll keep the fires lit until you're back again. And remember, lighthouses don't go running all over the island looking for boats to save. They just stand there shining. This has been another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Contact the show by emailing soulforgepodcast@gmail.com or by tweeting soulforgepod on Twitter. Visit us at soulforgepodcast.com, and remember, the best way to show your support is by leaving a 5-star review in the iTunes Store. And, if you would, please check us out and like us on Facebook. The Soul Forge Podcast was written, produced, scored, edited, engineered, and directed by Shawn Vanderloo. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Darth Vaderloo. For more great content, you can listen to my other podcast, The Rusted Robot. Thanks for stopping by the Forge. We'll keep the fires lit until your next visit.
I could do this all day.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.